All right, everyone, we are here with a very special guest. We are joined by Matt James. He's here to talk about his new book. First Impressions is Matt James with Cole Brown. We've had a lot of people come in with books lately, and every time we talk about it at the beginning, we've mastered the pick up the book and place it on the table. It's great, especially when they come in person and we have it right in front of us.
Yeah, we get to see your thumbs in real life.
Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
Holy shit, I didn't even realize that.
That's crazy.
What's going on there?
You didn't? Oh my God, when he first, I remember you posted the cover of the book, and people were like,
people were going crazy.
Are you double jointed?
I'm not. I just have jacked up thumbs. Like I can't do you know how like little kids could like flip their eyelids back?
Yeah.
I can't do any of that. I just have jacked up thumbs.
Yeah,
that's all right. Join the club. Yeah. I also have weird thumbs. Not like that. I just have club thumbs, so I get made fun of all the time as well.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have those.
Yep, I know.
Just kidding.
Well, we're happy to have you in studio. Last time we talked to you was like way back at the end. I think actually maybe mid-bachelor.
Yeah. I don't even think we talked yet.
Yeah, and it was on Zoom, and you had the beard. It was a whole different Matt.
Yeah.
You did have that beard. Are people happy that's gone?
A lot of people are happy that's gone, but my girlfriend, who's actually here with us in studio, she was like a big proponent of it. She didn't want me to cut it, and when I did cut it, she cried. She was crying when I cut it.
It's jarring. Like, I don't know what it is, and it is irrational because I do the same thing. Like, my boyfriend really wants to cut his hair like really short.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm gonna do it, and I'm like, please don't. And I think he actually is going to do it. You know, it'll grow back.
Yeah,
it'll grow back.
Like, don't do it.
You know what's funny though? I feel like with girls telling their boyfriend something, they'll easily be like, no, don't do that. Like, I want your hair like this. I want your beard like this. But if the boyfriend says it to the girl, it's like, well, you don't think I'm going to look good like that?
Yeah.
Because that's what my reaction would be. I'd be like, wait, you don't think I would look good with my haircut?
That's a fact.
Yeah.
I never thought about it that way.
It is funny. So the book is out May 3rd.
Yes.
And it's you worked with Cole Brown on this.
I did.
Cole's a Georgetown grad.
Cole is a Georgetown
I don't
grad,
know
yes.
I don't know Cole personally, but I do know some people that do know Cole, and he's legit.
He's legit. He has his own book that he has published, and it was super important for me for my voice to come through from someone who had my lived experience. You know, Cole grew up in majority white spaces, being a black person, and it just felt right after reading his book to have him tell my story, and it was very exciting to work together to come up with First Impressions.
Yeah. Now everybody seems to be writing a book these days. How did you make sure yours was different than everybody else's?
That's a great question. You know, I feel like
I forgot.
As I was.
It's been a while since you've been on the podcast.
The good question thing.
I forgot it's been a while.
and then you're like, is it even a good question?
And Trent was like he was like, fuck, I gotta get a good question.
Yeah, the last time you got the most.
Yeah,
I got the second most. And Trent, he was like, am I ever gonna be told that I have a good question?
It's 1-0 right now. Keeping tally. I guess selfishly, like as I was watching the show play out, I was like, who is that guy? Like, it didn't remind me of my experience. It was so fun. I enjoyed it. Like, I had such an amazing experience meeting Rachael and everybody else. And then I feel like a lot of people have this experience as they watch it back. Like, that's not me. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And it just left a bad taste in my mouth, because you have this opportunity to spend time with so many people, get to know all these people. And then, you know, America sees it and they're like, who is this flop? This guy's boring. This guy doesn't have personality. And, you know, selfishly, it started out with me. It's like, I want to give the background to like why I am the way that I am. And as I started going through these anecdotes that I wanted to put in the book, I realized that a lot of people could benefit from me sharing what I've been through, because it's super relatable.
Yeah.
From risk taking to me moving to New York, to being in relationships, to things that I dealt with my family, as you saw with my dad. A lot of different key pieces of my life that a lot of people have been through. And I feel like that, as I worked my way through the book, was more important for me to, you know, share this with people so that they could be like, oh, Matt's been through this and this is how he came out of it. Like, I can do the same thing. So, you know, it started out for me, but as we worked through it, I want this to be and I think it'll resonate with a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think you brought up a great point in the beginning of that, where you said that when you watch the show back, you were like, this isn't really me. And I think a lot of people now I see on social media, and I was just telling you and Rachel that you guys are like my favorite couple to follow, because you just see how goofy you guys are. You see your relationship, you see your personalities.
We felt like that because we had known you before, and when we were watching, we were just like, I guess we don't really know that many people actually going on reality TV.
Or we didn't,
so it's like,
we didn't know anybody.
Wait. Like it's you forget that you can be portrayed differently, or like even just reading about your relationship with your dad and then seeing that only short blip of what they put on the show and how much more to it there was.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like that happens with a lot of leads. Like recently when we had Clayton on, and people watch Clayton, they comment, I see them comment on our interviews and be like, wow, he comes across so likable here. And it's well, you're not seeing them. I mean, you see you be yourself, but to a certain extent, because it's all cut in certain ways, and you don't really, sometimes you don't see the personality shine through.
Yeah, it's sad because you've got a lot of very interesting and exciting people that, enter that space and have that opportunity to share their life with the world, and for it to play out a different way through someone else's lens is challenging, but that's what the rest of your life is for. It's a chapter, and you continue to show people who you are through what you do and how you show up. So I think that in terms of Clayton and Susie, like, people are going to see who he is as Clayton and Susie live out their relationship. So shout out to them. I'm happy for them. Going on their little road trip.
Yeah, they also give off very goofy vibes, which I think is really cute. I think we're also rooting for them as well. And the book, was there anything you were nervous about putting into this book?
It's a good question.
One.
I think that being as vulnerable as I was on The Bachelor, there really wasn't any space for me to hold back. And I'd seen how much personal growth I had, and sharing my story and my truths with all these women. A lot of it didn't end up making that final cut, but that's neither here nor there. I was able to share a lot of that in the book, and having gone through all those things, it made it really easy.
Yeah.
Now, we wanted to talk to you a little bit about Dancing with the Stars, because we didn't get to talk to you after that.
And there's no Dancing with the Stars in the book.
And there's no Dancing with the Stars. And when you got cast on Dancing with the Stars, you passed on coming on our podcast for some reason. So we just want to know what happened there.
And there's a lot of your Dancing with the Stars folks wrote the the little forwards at the beginning, their praise for you. So it must have been a good experience.
Oh, it was the best experience, and the book was so far along in the process that it didn't make sense. There wasn't a place for it. So maybe in the next book.
We do joke about that too. It's like when young people write a book about themselves, where do you end the book?
Right.
You have to pick a point, or
the book is just going to keep. You're never going to finish the book.
You're never going to finish the book.
And to get back to the Dance with the Stars question, I tried to pull key elements and themes so that it's not like I was born in 1987.
Right.
It's like when I was young, this is what happened, this is what I took away from it. And there's a lot of those different things opposed to this like timeline of like, when you're 12, make sure you do this. So, but to Dancing with the Stars, that was one of the most enjoyable experiences I've ever had, especially coming off such a dramatic, like crazy experience on The Bachelor. Being around, people that I've looked up to and that I admire, freaking Laura Harden from The Office, like, that was the first person I saw at practice, and I didn't have any words. Like, I was just starstruck. And she must have told me her name like 7 times, but all I could think was, Jan. But being around those super talented people was just like the right recipe for what myself and Rachel needed, because she made every show. She was out there living with me in California. We became super close with Suni. We just got back from her gymnastics championship in Fort Worth, Texas. Like, we spent time with a lot of these different families, and we've gone and visited Lindsay, my dance partner. We've gone and seen Jimmy Allen in concert. So like, these are real relationships and friendships that you form in this show, which was completely different than like, blind dating, sending someone home, and having to deal with all that. So
I do think it says a lot about you as a person too, because Dancing with the Stars has been on for a long time, and you don't see a lot of the stars necessarily sometimes forming as close of a bond with the other stars.
Right.
So it is really cool seeing the relationships you form with everybody else that was on the show, and they all loved the book. From what it seems.
Yeah, and you just mentioned, you're visiting this person, that person. You and Rachel seem like you are all over the states. You're all over the map.
Do you have a home?
Yeah.
That's a great. Of recently,
I was like, you were gonna say it. That's a great question.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
I feel like that's a half.
That was a half.
That's a half.
We'll take it 1.5.
Slight lead right now.
Yep.
We've always had a home, but like it's not traditional the way that your life goes after an experience like this. Before the show, I was super central to New York City doing commercial real estate, and after the show I've been able to explore careers and interests that I wouldn't have been able to. Hydroponic farming, crypto, NFTs. I won't bore you with it. I see you taking a sigh.
Yeah, the NFTs
it's
or
not,
something,
it's,
huh?
No, it's not as much of a sigh as
no,
more
it's
of
more
a,
like
maybe you'll explain it to us.
Maybe you could teach us something because I know that this is going to become our lives at some point.
You could explain it to us like we're 8 years old. I was going to say 7. I'll make
6,
it 8.
Her 8.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this in terms of NFTs. I think you should think about it as, the utility behind an NFT, not just like the artwork. So like a gym membership could be an NFT. Like if you had a gym membership that do you go a Starbucks card? Like if you have a Starbucks card, you buy a Starbucks card.
He was going to ask us if we went to the gym, and he said no. He looked at us and goes, "No, they don't."
I was just trying to think of
these two don't have gym memberships.
A wide sweeping. All right, let's say you have a Starbucks NFT. You buy it for $500.
Yeah.
That NFT gets you a free coffee every day, right? So you could sell that card to somebody else and there's a fixed amount of these cards, right? This is just a random example. Let's say there's 100. So if there's only 100 of these, the demand's going to be high because there's millions of people who drink coffee. So you could sell that card at a premium to somebody else. But Starbucks, who minted or like created that card, is always going to get a profit based off of the sales. So every sale that happens, Starbucks gets a little cut of it. So it incentivizes the artist or the procurer of the piece. So it's like
you could say whatever word and we'll just nod our head.
It's very good for the artist, which is cool because historically, artists haven't had a lot of control, especially in music. So there's a bunch of music NFTs that are doing well. I'll leave it at that. So.
Yeah, my question about that is like, you see like this like tiger, right? With like a chain on it. And it's like, that's an NFT. And it's like, why can't I just get the graphics guy here to make something like that and then have that just be the NFT?
That's a good question. So the reason that you can't do that is because it doesn't live on a blockchain. And a blockchain validates that that's owned and is not replicated. So you could save a picture of the Mona Lisa, but that doesn't make it.
That is the most realistic answer I've ever gotten when I asked that question. So thank you. Nobody has ever just been like, it's on this. That's why. So thank you for that.
The blockchain.
Yeah. You can't,
we don't have to ask about that. But
I don't understand the blockchain, but what I know is that you can't fudge data. Like it's finite. You can't go back. You can make an amendment to it, but if you transfer something to somebody, that's there forever.
Yeah, if you just printed a picture of the Mona Lisa out on a piece of paper,
value.
that's not the Mona Lisa.
Yeah,
Got
exactly.
it. Noted.
So, lesson 1 in the books.
You just ran the Boston Marathon.
I did.
How'd you do? Did you beat Zach Clark?
No, Zach Clark freaking beat me.
Oh.
It wasn't a competition, but it's always,
it's always a competition.
No, I was like, Rachel can attest to this. My training, like, she's laughing.
I'll be honest, I was shocked.
I would love for
I do
Rachel
follow
to
both
just
of you,
say,
and I was shocked that you were running the Boston Marathon. I was like, wait a second. I've followed what they've been doing the last month.
I would love
He's
for Rachel
running the Boston Marathon right now.
To just come on this mic and say what happened right before this when we talked about the tummy ache.
Come here.
I would.
Or you could go to that mic.
What am I explaining?
Just do a little impression of Matt at 3 a.m.
Yeah, so what is this, like 8 hours before he's supposed to run? I'm fast asleep at 3 a.m. and I just hear reach from the bathroom. And he pretty much kept me up with him the entire time until he felt well enough to sleep in a chair sitting up.
Yeah, long story short, I ate way too much at dinner. I tried to carb load, and I
feel like that's not what
It
you're
was a
supposed to
tomato
do.
sauce.
I took the Michael Scott office approach of just eating as much as you can, and then there was nothing that could be done. Like it was what it was, and I just wanted Rachel to be awake and know that I was not feeling well.
I mean, I can't believe you finished. Like that happened to you, and you did finish.
Surprisingly,
the whole
I
marathon.
felt really good in the morning.
Okay.
And I didn't have any strategy going in because I didn't train. Like
That's what I'm saying. There, I saw no training.
I didn't train. I walked on the treadmill, like I did random things, and I felt really good out the gate. And I was checking my splits, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm on pace for like the world record. Like I'm gonna be in the record books. And I'm like FaceTiming and like talking to my friends as I'm running. I'm like, Zach, my buddy Zach Price, who worked at CBRE with me. I'm like, Zach, like I'm crushing it right now. I feel really good. He's like, bro, you're gonna crash. Like pace yourself. I'm like, nah, I'm straight. And then mile like 20, I couldn't move my legs.
Yeah.
So
How many miles is it?
It's 26 point.
Oh my
26.2, right?
I can't even imagine. I
Yeah.
can't even
was
run 1
brutal.
mile.
It was brutal. But I'll say this. You see people out there who look like everybody, like your grandma, your uncle, your niece, your nephew.
Yeah.
Like there's no
Marathon Day in the city is one of my favorite
It's
days.
incredible.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
just think of the Seinfeld episode.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
The energy of the crowd will get you through. So training or not, it was so much fun and an honor to be a part of.
It's something that I feel like you don't even need to train for. I see you post your Instagram stories of you on the Peloton. It's like, it's like Matt James, one of 98,000 people who took the race. I'm like, son of a bitch. I'm happy if I'm like in the high 60s. Thousand.
Yeah,
not
1,000.
60,000.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
It's really
just,
one.
It's just
Like
not our
number
thing.
one.
It's not our thing.
Of
I
all
know.
those people.
I see it too. It makes me feel like shit about myself. Okay.
Well, remember, everything's a competition, so you know.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
No.
Do you
I
make
know.
Rachel run like that?
Rachel rode with me. So a buddy of mine, the longest I ran was like 14 miles, and I'm like, Rachel, will you follow us on the bike just to like, hang, keep us company and whatnot? And she did. She was on the city bike, which are like these like heavy, monstrous.
Those are heavy bikes.
So Rachel ended up biking like 20 miles that day, like following up and down the West Side Highway. And
That's a good workout too.
Yeah. Yeah, Rachel was crying. She was crying. She was beat up. Her legs were sore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went for too long of a walk the other week.
Yeah, she's walking around the office. She's holding her legs.
I'm like, I'm so
did something
sore.
happen? She goes, just walk too
Just
much.
walk too
Yeah, no, there's
literally
levels to
just
it.
straight up just walk too much.
Yeah.
Like not, so that's where we're
That's where
at
we stand.
in
Yeah,
our
that's why
health
when he
journey.
looked at us, he didn't say gym membership. He said Starbucks
No,
card.
exactly. He's like, they definitely drink coffee. But I feel like food is so important to you, and eating out and those experiences, the ABC food tours, all of those things. Why do you guys like love that connection to food so much?
Do y'all have dietary restrictions?
No.
I brought my favorite cookies.
Ooh.
Yes.
I just had 2 donuts before this, but I'm
have
going to
to
have
try-
to eat this.
You have to try one. And you can be brutally honest with me.
Oh my God.
Like these are like
Oh my God, they look unbelievable.
they're
Are they
incredible.
chocolate chip?
They're
or are
chocolate
they?
book. They're chocolate chip.
Let's split one, no? You want your full one? Okay.
Okay.
Like, hey, listen.
No, you're right. You're right. Let's split one. You're right. That's appropriate.
I'm only asking because I literally had 2 donuts right before
Yeah,
this. I
yeah.
offered donuts when you guys came in. She was like, we just had all these cookies. It feels like
They're incredible.
Ooh.
They're super buttery. They're warm. All the ingredients are fresh. It's.
I mean, that was like an orgasmic.
that's like ASMR. Noah doesn't like the sound. He went like this. That's really good.
Every time.
Some people don't like the sound of chewing.
I hate the sound of chewing, but with ASMR, I like it. It's very
right.
good.
Especially
Those
chocolate
are
chip
really
cookies.
fucking good cookies.
They're so
really
good.
good.
Like I wouldn't bring you like some BS cookies. Like I'm only
we
bringing you
know.
the finest.
That's so good.
But yeah, there's enough for everybody. So
One of my
Oh my
favorite
God.
stories is
Where is that?
that is right up the street from y'all. It's on 38th and 6th.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna keep that noted for people's
Wow.
birthdays in here
Holy
now
crap.
because
Yeah.
I'm tired of getting the same old thing.
No, you don't want
Got to
that.
impress them with
No,
that.
those are insane.
They're really good.
One of my favorite stories is remember when we walked to get bagels by my old apartment and we just saw him standing out. We didn't even say hi to you. You were scarfing down a sandwich. Do you
Oh
remember?
yeah, no, I remember.
Right.
And
This was a while ago.
Yeah.
We were getting bagels. I think we were hungover or we were
something like that.
and like we were just like in line. You rode up, ate a bagel and maybe 15 seconds.
We didn't even have time to say hi to you.
And then you got back on the bike and away you went.
Yeah, that's very accurate. It's probably either Tompkins Square Bagel or Brooklyn Bagel.
It was down in. We were down in.
It was
Friday.
downtown.
Oh, it was
Leo's.
It was Leo's.
Leo's. Yeah, Leo's.
Leo's is one of the best kept secrets in Manhattan.
Leo's.
That line's always insane though.
Yeah, we were waiting on
We were in the line.
Yeah.
You were in and out.
Y'all didn't say hey?
No, you
messed
looked
up.
very distracted with your. This
Yeah.
was before the white elephant party, so
Oh,
we
this
weren't.
is-
We weren't
oh,
that
can we
close.
talk about that?
Yeah, we could talk about it. You
Rhea
talk
brought
about
me
it.
to the white elephant party.
So I'm back in Jupiter for
It was Christmas.
This
time.
is Christmas.
Yeah.
And
2020.
2020, yeah.
yeah, this is Christmas 2020. So this is before like
Yeah.
getting asked to go on The Bachelorette.
Yeah, yeah. No, you
You had just got back.
Oh, I just got back. Oh, that's right.
We were like, you're the Bachelor, dude.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
you were gonna be-
crazy.
you were
That's
the
right.
Bachelor.
Yeah,
Not
hadn't
yet.
aired yet.
Your season was premiering in like 2 weeks.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious. So you came with your brother.
My brother and my sister.
Yeah.
Hold
and
up,
me.
also, your brother saved Rachel and I from being stuck in Italy.
Really? Oh, he was.
Yes.
Well, he sent me. He was like, Rachel and Matt are in Milan. He's living in Milan right now, and he was like, would it be weird for me to message him? I was like,
Not at
no,
all.
do it.
No.
Like, hopefully he sees it.
We were trying to connect with him, and we had to leave the next day. He's like, "Oh yeah, make sure y'all have your exit COVID test." And I was like, "What are you talking about? Exit
shit.
COVID?"
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
"Yeah, you have to test negative to leave the country." It's like 8:30. Me and Rachel were like, we couldn't find an urgent care that was open. We went to a hospital in the middle of Milan. No one spoke any English. I'm like talking about COVID tests. I think I have COVID. So they're like-
Yeah.
It was the craziest experience, but long story short, we made it work. We got tested negative, and got back. But
Shout out to JB.
shout out to JB.
Good job, JB.
Yeah, he's the man.
Yeah.
White Elephant Party. Can we go through what everybody got?
Yeah,
Starting with
yeah.
you.
Yeah, so, well, I'll tell the story about how we were invited to this. So Tyler was like, come, I'm having a white elephant party, come. And he sent the address, and we looked it up because we were like, where is this? Whatever.
Yeah.
And it didn't look like a house or anything. We were
Yeah.
like, this
First of
doesn't-
all, we thought it was like.
well, that's why I'm
his
gonna
house.
I'm getting to that.
Yes.
So I like to give the details to the story, Fran. That's rude. People like details.
Go ahead.
So he invited us to his house, and we looked it up, and we were like, that doesn't look like his house. That doesn't even look like a house. So we said to him again, whose house is this? And he kept saying, my house. And we were like, there's no way this is his house, but I guess we're gonna go. He said the party was at 8:00. We said, who shows up to a party at 8:00? We'll show up around 9:30. So we waited it out. We had to bring presents. White elephant party. The only thing I have with me is weed. So I'm like, I'll bring weed.
That's a true
and
story.
then there was a FabFitFun
My
box.
mom's FabFitFun box that we just took everything that was in her
and we were like, all right,
FabFitFun
let's
box.
just take stuff from there for you, your brother, and your sister. We show up at around 9:30 because we're like, nobody shows up to the party early. He's texting us like, where are you guys? We pull up. It's not his house. It is definitely not his house. It's his friend's apartment.
Katie's house.
Yeah.
Katie's apartment.
Katie's apartment.
And we walk in, and there's like 6 people there, and
Very
you're all
intimate.
drinking hot chocolate. We showed up with like seltzers and beers.
Yes.
Because we thought we were showing up to a party.
Yep.
And it was an intimate white elephant gathering for a close friend group drinking hot chocolate that I had brought weed to.
Like literally
Yes.
all like best friends. Like having a white
We
elephant
hadn't met
party.
anybody except Tyler before
And
this.
that
We
was-
didn't even meet you.
No, that was all over their face when they walked in too. They were just like, oh.
We were like, yeah. Thank God we didn't really like get dressed. We would have looked so stupid.
I really couldn't believe the outcome. Like, we looked at each other. We were like, we whispered, they're drinking hot chocolate.
Yeah. Everyone was like, we had a big night last night. Nobody's drinking. We're like, what the fuck are we
And they were like,
No
all
way
right,
to
yeah.
go.
They were like, all right, let's get it started. They started the white elephant party. Immediately, we were picking numbers out of a hat.
Yep.
We were like, this is their Christmas. And we just crashed. And then we did it, and then it was over. Everyone left.
Everyone
It was like an hour.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you for pulling up to that.
Oh, well, yeah, thanks for having us. It was,
And I ended up leaving.
it's always a good story to tell.
I ended up leaving with the things that we brought.
I was gonna
Yes.
say
Which
that.
we did on purpose.
Yeah,
like
we
You allowed
did.
to do that?
you're not really, but I was like, my mom might actually be mad I took everything from her box.
Because you could
So
swap.
I was like,
So we
"Thanks, back."
were like, take that one,
I think
so that we could bring everything back.
I got one, right? Didn't I get the first one? The first pick?
Yeah. And I was like,
You were like, "Get the weed."
take the weed back. Take the weed back. We need that.
That was fun.
It was really just to participate that we brought all the things so that we could just take it back. But yeah, Jupiter, I do like being in Jupiter. I'm not gonna lie.
that was a lot of the reason why I wanted to be back in South Florida.
Yeah.
Just spending all that time with Tyler and those people in South Florida. I was like, if I can make it work from down here, like, why would I go back to cold, snowy, rainy? Windy?
I loved what you wrote about his mom in the book. I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of people don't. Well, if you follow Tyler, you know that about his mom, but just the most welcoming, warm woman that I've ever been around. And anyone who's met her would say the same thing. Just her house was open to any and everybody. And that's how Tyler is. That's how Austin, his younger brother, is. And that's also how Ryan is. Like, there's nothing that any of them wouldn't do for anybody else. And, you know, I'll forever be grateful to Miss Cameron for, you know, her pushing me to go along this crazy journey. And, I know. I love that. You and was it Ryan's? Whose friend was the jet ski you almost broke?
Oh my god! I broke their jet ski.
When?
You didn't come that day.
You weren't there.
I broke one of their jet skis, and
Are you serious?
And I kept it. Okay, so I'll make
Is
it
this
short
the
for
first time
Fran, but
anyone's hearing this?
I may have told it like quickly one time, but I went on Tyler's boat and I brought Fran's sister with me. And Ryan, right, his brother, and his friend came.
Yep.
And he had a jet ski that he followed us on, and we were on the boat. And I was like, I fucking love jet skis. Anybody who listens to this show knows I love jet skis. We went to Miami once. We both got on. I just love jet skis, and I have a great time on them. But this water was a little different from jet skis I usually ride. So they were like, we were in the inlet, and there's no really clear signs of where you could take the jet ski. So they're like, yeah, go on the jet ski. So I go on the jet ski alone. I'm having a good time. All of a sudden, the jet ski just stops. I hit the sand. I hit a sandbar.
No, you hit the sand.
And I'm just stuck. Like, I am just stuck. There's no one around me. Nothing. No, I'm literally like about to cry because I'm literally stuck in the middle of the ocean. And there's no one around me.
The worst.
And I'm panicking. I'm like, holy shit, I don't have my phone with me. I'm just stuck. And I see two boats of families come in, and the dads on the boats were like, are you all right? I'm like, my jet skis. I'm like trying to push it myself. Nothing's working. These two dads jump in the water, and they were like, we have daughters. If our daughter's like this, we got to help you. So they helped me get the jet ski out. And they like pushed me on my way. But it just kept stopping and going as I was riding it back. Like I must have fucked up the engine with some sand and it was beeping. Like there was a red light going on and off, and it just kept stopping, going, stopping, going until I finally got there. And when I showed up, I was like, I don't know what's going on, but the jet ski keeps beeping. Like it just started beeping when I was out there. I didn't tell anybody what happened.
Are you serious?
Yeah, except her sister.
You are hilarious.
Yeah, I was like, Gia, I was like, don't say a fucking word. But I broke their jet ski.
What did she say anything?
She was like, she was dying. She was like, oh, tell me about it later. Because I couldn't tell her what happened. But I kept saying, I'm like, I don't know what happened. And they had to get it back. So the friend and Ryan were just slowly creeping on the jet ski to get it back. And then later on, I finally told Tyler, like, I fucked up your jet ski. Like, I couldn't say it there. It would have been so uncomfortable.
No, you couldn't have.
It sat with me for so long, though. I felt so guilty about it.
You didn't get confronted on it, which was a good thing.
No, never.
Like, no,
good.
Like, there wasn't, like, afterward, they were like...
How long were you gone?
A long time. And they said, they were like, you were gone a while. I was like, yeah, this thing's acting weird. I have never felt that panic in my entire life. Like, I am stuck in the middle of the ocean, and until somebody comes by, I'm just stuck here.
It's
like,
sketchy, right?
There's nothing. I couldn't get it to move. Nothing. And yeah, but I said, hold jet skis. This stuff all the time. Water equipment, you know? It's like having a golf cart. Those things always get fucked up.
They always break down.
Yep. So
that was so smooth.
Yeah, thank you.
I respect that.
Thanks.
You it's a lot of boat. That's
a lot of boat talk.
Boat talk. Well, and I was gonna also say, like, you have maybe the perfect, like, oops, gone fishing story in this book. That was like, it's literally the definition of like gone fishing. Don't text.
I'll share that.
Yeah.
As you're working on the cookie, I love that. I love that.
You got it.
All right, so. This was like literally 2 days before they're supposed to announce that I'm the Bachelor. And I'm like, I haven't told a soul. I haven't told my mom. Like, Tyler's literally the only one who knows at this point.
Yeah.
And so we're going to go down to Marathon in the Keys and like do some tarp fishing and just like hang out. I have a call the next day So I'm like, yo, we have to be off the boat by like 2-3 o'clock so that I can be on this call, be onboarded, and then, you know, do the GMA thing literally the next day. To my defense, I've never been on a chartered boat. I've never been out like that before. So I didn't really know what I was getting into. So the day of the meetings and stuff that I'm supposed to have with like the top execs at ABC, the Bachelor people, like preparation for the GMA announcement the next day, we decided to go on a chartered fishing trip. And I'm like, yo, as long as I'm like talking to the captain, I'm like, yeah, I just got to be back. Like I'm like so ignorant. I'm like, yeah, I just got to be back in like a couple hours. He's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah. Like, this guy's an idiot. We start going out in the water, and we're like, there's a mile. There's another mile. I can't see the land. I have no cell phone reception. Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, we're far. Like, we're going to have to go right back in. And then it sets in probably an hour out there. I'm like, I'm not going to make this call.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to miss the entire, like, even if I had, there's no way. I'm going to miss it. So I spend the best day on the water. I'm like, if I'm going to miss this call, I'm going to have a blast.
Right, you're going to miss it anyway.
If they say you're not the Bachelor anymore, at least I caught some fish.
We were freaking, we went, what's it called when you free diving? And we saw sharks, we saw snapper, we saw everything.
You had quite a day.
Yeah. It was so much fun. And I was just like putting everything behind myself until I got to the water. And then I got to shore. We don't get back to shore until like 8-9 p.m. I'm talking about like I passed
hours.
It was so far and like there's no like heads up, hey, I'm gonna be a little bit late.
Yeah.
Get back. I have all these missed messages like, where are you? I call them, like, I honestly don't even know what I said because there's no excuse. Like, I gave like the most elaborate like dog ate my homework answer. And like I'm sitting in the back of the car, like Tyler's beside me. His face is like pale white. And I'm talking to like the honchos and they're like, we'll let you know tomorrow what we decide. Like, you really let us down. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I just blew it to go fishing. Like, I blew it to catch some fish.
Saw some sharks. Yeah.
Ultimately, it ended up working out. Yeah. And I go into more detail in the book, but like that could have been really bad.
Was it worth it though?
No, it was not worth it. Absolutely, I had a blast. Like, it was so much fun.
Yeah,
like I
could have planned that on
but you
could
have done it, and you could have done it the next day.
Whenever. It was so dumb. And like looking back, I'm like, that was my one and only strike. Like, I've gotta. After we did that announcement, like I think like a week or two later, I went to Nemacolin like a month early so that I wouldn't put myself in like some crazy position. Yeah. Because, you know, living in the house with Tyler and all those people, we had, you know, there was always something fun going on. Yeah. And I didn't want to get pulled into like a COVID party or that's out on the boat.
Yeah. Right.
On the sand. So that was my lesson learned. And I hit it straight to Nemacolin and like posted up and waited for everybody to get there.
Yeah. You don't really touch on any of, I mean, you talk about being the Bachelor and the expectations and the pressure that was on you in the beginning, but you didn't really like dive too much into it, which you said you didn't really want to do. It was like not typical of a Bachelor book, but in your epilogue, you kind of went into more detail on your season and your relationship with Rachael and kind of post-show, which is probably where a lot of people wanted those blanks to be filled in a little bit of how that reconnection happened. And you guys were you were in Atlanta and she didn't know you were in Atlanta, but accidentally shared her location.
Yeah, it's actually crazy.
Because you were blocked. Hashtag blocked.
I was hashtag blocked. I put myself in a very bad situation. And it led to, you know, Rachael not wanting to ever speak to me again, and she blocked my phone, and I was crushed. And I went to California, and I wasn't even supposed to be in Atlanta. Like, I was in California for my buddy Kobe's birthday. And
I know Kobe.
You know Kobe. Oh, you do know Kobe. Yeah, you know Kobe. I know Kobe. So I'm in California for Kobe's birthday, and I get a text from, I think it was Noah, Beck, or Bryce, asking if I wanted to go to.
It was Bryce's fight, right?
Yeah, asking if I wanted to go to the fight. And it was when Jake Paul was fighting somebody in Atlanta. I forget.
KSI?
And it wasn't KSI. It was the UFC fighter. Who he knocked out. Mm-hmm. Ben Astra.
You know what I'm talking about? Ben's definitely his first name.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ben Askren.
Yeah.
Ben
Thank you,
Askren.
Noah.
Thank you. And I'm like, heck yeah, like, this is gonna be like, I'd love to go see that. So we freaking, it's like, this isn't the life I live. Like, I get on like a chartered plane with like, you know, all of their crew.
Oh, I remember seeing that video.
Oh yeah, we were really weirded out. I remember.
Like, why the fuck
we were
is
like,
Matt
why
on
is
this
Matt James with
plane
these
with all the
TikTokers?
TikTok kids going to Atlanta?
And I
like,
think we said,
what is
we
he
said,
doing?
of course.
Like,
It
classic
was
Matt.
so funny. Like, I'm sitting across from Miss D'Amelio, and we had like the best conversation. She's actually really nice.
Yeah.
We stayed in communication, and her pop. So like Mr. and Mrs. D'Amelio, and then, you know, Dixie, all those people were on the plane. It was so funny and so random. Get to Atlanta, and then I get asked to play in a celebrity basketball game, and that's when like Justin Bieber was in, Quavo, and so I'm just having this like crazy weekend, and Rachel lives a little bit outside of Atlanta, like maybe like 30, 45 minutes, and coming, and I didn't realize my number was blocked at the time, but I'm staying downtown with like everybody who's going to the fight. And I wake up super early, like the morning before the fight. I'm like riding the Peloton, and
Probably finished first.
and I check my phone after, and I get a notification that Rachel's sharing her location with me. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, why is Rachel sharing her location with me? Like, this is a sign. Like, she's trying to communicate with me without communicating with me. And I checked the location.
She saw you on that plane.
She didn't see me. She had no idea I was in Atlanta. Her dot was like 30 seconds from where I was. I'm like, oh my gosh, she drove here to see me. I'm like, she wants to see me and talk to me. So I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, okay, point taken. Like, I leave, I put my clothes on, and I'm walking towards this dot. And then I get to the dot, and there's no person. I'm just in the middle of downtown Atlanta, and there's a massive apartment building. So I FaceTime her. I don't get a pickup, I don't think you picked up. Yeah, I had to call again, and she's like, what do you want? Like, why are you calling me?
What the fuck are you calling me?
I'm like, I got your
Where are you?
I got your secret message. Like, I'm outside.
Hey, I'm outside.
She's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I did unblock your number. And I was like, oh. I'm like, oh, so we had shared locations with each other.
Yeah.
So
you
now
had
it's
it on
resharing
before.
the location.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, so you didn't send me that. So I'm like, well, like, I want to see you and apologize for everything. And she's like, we don't have anything to talk about. And I'm like, damn. I'm like, please, like, just give me like 5 minutes. And we ended up talking for like 6 hours in the parking garage. And I'm like crying. I'm just like apologizing and telling her I'm gonna do better. And yeah.
Good. That's
people
good.
who couldn't hear Rachel. She said he lived up to it.
Yes. nothing's worse than, you know, hearing all the crying and the promises and then it's the same. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like you guys. It seems from what I see, it just
From
seems like
then
you
on,
guys
it
have
seems
a
like it's
great
been good.
relationship.
It's been incredible.
You guys seem like you have a blast. I laugh at all of your TikToks together. It just seems like you guys have fun.
Yeah, Sean Lowe gave me really good advice when when he was talking about being the Bachelor, and he's the only one who said this. Actually, he said that when you're done with the show, you're gonna have a bunch of cool opportunities, and make sure that whoever you end up with, you bring them with you, because you're gonna want to experience that with somebody, and if you don't, it's gonna create a divide in your relationship. And I love Sean. I haven't met him in person, but I respect him and who he is and how he's gone about living his life and his family. And that really stuck with me. And everything I do and everything Rachel do, we try to do together. And I think it's made our relationship and communication stronger, from Dancing with the Stars to freaking the ESPYs. Everything we do together. And I wouldn't have it any other way.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
It is good because Sean, I feel like, does have a lot of knowledge from being, you know, not a lot of bachelors stay with who they pick. The bachelor, you know, it's like he is the longest, and like Ari, he counts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like Sean really and that was, you know, years and years ago now. So it is that I feel like he's the perfect person to get some tips on. But I do want to ask about the basketball, because, you know, you have played in a bunch of celebrity basketball games. You did get to play at the All-Star game.
Oh my gosh.
And how'd that go for you?
The All-Star game was like, That was the worst basketball I've ever played in my entire life.
I'm dying. I do remember we were watching, and I feel like it was maybe my brother or it might have even been my dad. Like, it was in our family group chat, and they were like, was it free throws you missed or like?
I didn't miss them. I was airballing.
Yes, that's
I'm at
like
the
someone
line.
was like, Matt just
my
airballed free throw.
It was so embarrassing. 'cause,
Quite opposite from the pictures with Justin Bieber.
Right. I was balling that game. And
yeah.
I had played with a lot of those guys. Like, I was on Quavo's team for that game. Or I played against Quavo in that game. And we were on the same team. And so he's like, yo, like, it's go time. Like, turn up. I'm like, bet. I got you. I'm airballing free throws. I'm turning the ball over. And like his like friends who were like on the court, like, yo, Matt, like, what are you doing? Tap in. I'm like, I got you. Airballing. Like, it was so embarrassing. And then like there was a moment on the free throw line where I like accidentally touched Brittany's boob.
Yep. You did.
Like, it went from bad to worse. Like, I couldn't catch a break.
Oh my God. And she like made a face. She was like,
She was like so thrown off. And
What was your reaction?
It was like, from watching the
You
clip,
laughed?
it was a total act.
You
like,
must have laughed.
She was behind him, and he like went like this and like didn't know.
Yeah, that's
it
an
was
accident.
Yeah, it was a lesson learned to
Play with like Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh
like.
yeah, Machine Gun Kelly was on the team, who was super cool. Like, he was, and it was actually hilarious though, because it's like Rachel sitting behind the bench with like my brother, my buddy Joe, Hampton, and then like Megan Fox is like sitting right beside him. So it's just this like, we're in the middle of Cleveland. Like, you have this like, I'm sitting like in between Alex Toussaint, Jimmy Allen, who I was on Dancing with the Stars, De'Erica, who I knew a bunch of the people on my team.
Yeah.
So it was cool, that aspect of it, but I'm just like, what is my life? Like, what am I doing here? And I'm just like, moments like that, I have like crazy amount of gratitude for just like everything that's come my way, and wanting to make sure that, you know, I'm doing the right things with this time and platform that I've been given.
Yeah.
So,
Well, at least you had fun.
Yeah.
I had a blast. It was so much fun.
Oh man,
I had a really good time.
That's so funny. Matt, thank you so much for coming and
thank
seeing
you.
us.
Absolutely.
Everyone can get First Impressions, order it, however you know.
Pre-order
Did
is
you do
important.
Audible?
I did Audible.
There you go.
Audible was hell.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I
lot of
couldn't
people-
read
Yeah.
until I did that.
Yeah.
Like, it took me so long. Like, it was like popcorn reading back in the day was like
Yeah.
my worst nightmare.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
yeah,
when
yeah.
you're just getting called on.
Yes.
It's,
And like, I would do
Reading
things to
circles.
compensate for not being able to read. It's never been my strong suit. So like, I'm reading. This is how it would have been back in the day. Like, it's really low. So like, when the cat crosses the street, and I'd cough when I didn't know a word. So I would just be coughing throughout the whole thing, trying to.
Yeah.
And I was doing that as I'm reading, and they're like they're tapping in from the other room, like, quit the coughing and speak up. And it took like 3 days.
You
It
probably
was-
learned more words doing this.
I did. It was pronunciation, all that stuff. But
Yeah,
it
you're
was,
probably like, damn it, Cole.
right. No, I'm like,
Could have put some pictures in here.
Come on. Yeah.
way more pictures next time.
Yeah.
Yes, that would no pictures.
Yeah.
There's
Gotta throw the pictures in there.
No pictures.
Yep.
It is really great. I think everyone who wants to learn more about Matt, or for all the people who watched the season and said, I feel like we didn't learn anything about Matt, get the book. You'll learn everything about
Yep.
Matt.
Pre-order. I heard that's important.
Yes, the pre-order is very
Yes.
important.
Very important.
And
Thank you,
available
Matt.
everywhere May 3rd. Thank
Yes,
you, Matt.
absolutely. Thank you for having me.